Outlander Season 7 has just ended, and I'm speechless. I was expecting a lot of things from this episode, but not this twist. Not certainly. I think this was one of those times when book readers were as confused as non reader fans of the show. So, you're telling me the stillborn child actually lived thanks to Master Raymond, I guess, had a life of her own, gave birth to two children, and something happened to her that her kids ended up at a brothel. I will talk about all of my theories and try to find the best explanation for this. We will discuss how Faith could have known that song, how Master Raymond saved her, and why the hell the writers would let William sleep with his half niece. Just why? Anyway, Stars has also released a sneak peek of season 8, so we'll take a look at that too. Let's start, shall we? Roger and Bree. I don't know if it's because I have a cold and my body is not feeling well, but I cried so much in this episode. I mean, even seeing Roger and Bree finally getting together, having that hug, and Roger asking Buck if they're real, these were all very well written, heartfelt moments. What's next for them? Well, I think this was established in their final scene where they discussed when they belonged. Bree mentioned how she missed her parents and how it would be weird if they stayed in 1739 since young Jamie would come back from university, etc., and they wouldn't want to return to the 20th century to face Rob Cameron again. So I do expect them to time travel to 1780s and find Jamie and Claire at Fraser's Ridge at the beginning of season 8. What do you think? Claire's alive. Of course she is. The only thing we didn't know was how much they would keep us waiting to see Claire's fate, and thank God it wasn't too long. Once again, Jamie had some iconic lines like,
"My blood kens yours like its own."
now that he's not going back to the army, it's certain that Jamie will take Claire to Fraser's Ridge. At least that was the plan before Claire said,
"I think Faith lived."
I still think they will go to Fraser's Ridge, but they will ask about Francis and Jane's parents, perhaps in the brothel where they were working. We could see an investigation storyline before the family resettles in Fraser's Ridge. I'll talk more about this in a minute. Jamie and William. Even though it ended with William breaking Jamie's heart by telling him he would never call Jamie father, I loved how William got to hear about his mother and Jamie got to be by his son's side during a most difficult moment. All William heard about his mother were negative traits, but Jamie was able to tell him how bold and confident she was, and I think William needed to hear that. They're still years away from closure, I think, but he's going to Jamie for help. Jamie acting so nice to Francis and taking her in will definitely act as things that will change Jamie's image in William's eyes. Just like Lord John implied in a previous episode, people are not just heroes and rebels, it's more complicated than that. And I think William will begin to see this other side to Jamie, a side that is passionate, brave, and fatherly. I do expect them to get closer in season 8, but do let me know if I'm being too naive. Jane, Francis, Faith, and Master Raymond. Where do I even begin with this storyline? You have to accept that the little flashback scene at the beginning of the episode was not a good sign, with younger Jane and Francis hugging their mother. That was the first sign that something big was coming. Then Claire seeing Master Raymond in her dream? So this was my understanding from what we were told in this episode. Francis and Jane had a mother they really loved, right? The mother was called Faith. Apparently, she loved dragonflies and she thought that dancing lights were actually 100,000 angels dancing, and if you waved at them, they'd reach down and carry you up to heaven. Last week, I was so curious about the title of episode 16, I have to say I definitely didn't expect this explanation. We learned why Jane was waving at the sky after drinking at night. She was hoping those angels would reach down and carry her up to heaven. That was probably the moment she knew she was going to unalive herself, but we didn't know. Going back to their mother, something must have happened to her because we know that Jane and Francis end up in a brothel at a very young age. Finally, we know that Faith knew a song written in the 20th century, a song we previously heard from Claire. So is this Faith the same Faith that Claire gave birth to in season 2, or is Claire reaching because she hopes that her first daughter is still alive somehow? Is her assumption a misunderstanding caused by her continuing grief over her dead child? There are a few possibilities. I should first tell you that in the books, there's no confirmation that Faith is alive. After seeing the locket and the picture inside, Claire thinks about the possibility of Faith being alive, and she even sends young Ian to ask the brothel owner about Jane's parents, but nothing really comes up and the subject is closed. They just believe that it's a coincidence that this woman's name was also Faith. However, now it's obvious that the show is taking a different approach. In season 2, it was Mother Hildegard who baptized and wrapped little Faith for burial. So one possibility is that Master Raymond stole the child from its grave and brought her back to life somehow and decided to keep this a secret for decades without telling Claire. Perhaps Mother Hildegard also knew about it. She heard Claire sing that song to Faith, and so she might have later repeated it to the girl. Diana Gabaldon already confirmed that Master Raymond is a time traveler himself, so it's possible he heard the song himself when he traveled to the 20th century. Otherwise, we don't think a stillborn baby fully remembered a song she didn't hear, right? Also, I can understand bringing the child back to life. Master Raymond was a healer too, and maybe he had some supernatural healing abilities. It wouldn't be strange in Outlander, but I don't understand the motive. Why would he bring back that child to life? Why would he let Claire and everyone else think that she was dead? Is it because he didn't want anyone to know about his abilities but still wanted not to let that girl die? It's possible. Another possibility related to the song is that Faith herself may have heard it in the future. She must have had the time-traveling gene since she was Claire's daughter. So it's possible that she time traveled to the 20th century, heard that song, and later sang it to her daughters when she returned to the past. Nevertheless, even if she lived long enough to grow up and have children, it looks like she's dead already, because why would her daughters end up at a brothel if she were alive? So either way, even if she lived, Jamie and Claire wouldn't be able to find their lost daughter. Of course, another possibility is perhaps this is all a coincidence, and Francis and Jane's mother learned that song from another time traveler. Honestly, I don't know. How will this twist work? What purpose will it serve in the final season? Did Faith really live, or is everything a coincidence? Do tell me your theories as well. I can't wait to have a discussion. What I don't want to talk about is the incest possibility. Did William sleep with his half-niece? I just can't. R.I.P. Rollo. Before moving on to season 8, I have to say R.I.P. Rollo. You were so thoughtful to wait for the arrival of another baby to let go of your own life. As someone who has a cat and who cannot even stop herself from crying when she imagines his death, that scene was especially difficult to watch for me. You were the best boy, Rollo. You will be missed. Season 8. So, Starz decided to release only a few-second clip from Season 8. It starts with a shot of the stones and Jamie's voice. He says, "When the day shall come that we do part, if my last words are not 'I love you,' you'll ken it was because I didn't have time." Well, this is great, but it isn't new. You'll remember that it's actually from Season 5, Episode 12. They're standing on the porch of the house in Fraser's Ridge, and Claire tells him, "I love you." This is where Jamie says those iconic lines. So I think the fact that they included these lines in this very short teaser for the final season means that we'll see a return to Fraser's Ridge in Season 8 as expected. And since he's mentioning his last words, that could be the foreshadowing of his last words in Season 8, as it is the final season. I, for one, am not ready to hear Jamie's last words, and I don't like that Starz is teasing not only the end of the show, but also the end of the characters. Does this mean Jamie is going to die in the final season? Do tell me your thoughts. We luckily also have this shot of Jamie and Claire from the final season. To me, this is from a rebuilt house from Fraser's Ridge. As you know, they were planning on rebuilding their house in a different place. I assume they did that and are already living there. As for the release date, Starz says coming soon, but Blood of My Blood is coming this summer. Season 8 has to be out after that, so either late 2025 or early 2026. I wish I had more. I have leaks from Season 8 and spoilers, but you're gonna have to watch my other videos to find out about them. There will be one for you to click on at the end of this video. If you also want a breakdown of the new Blood of My Blood teaser, subscribe to my channel. The video is coming tomorrow. Love you.